Hello, and we are here. We're back, episode number 2. Good to have you here. I am Spencer, your co-host, and I am here with my wife, who is...
That would be me, Adele. Hi, everyone. We're back for episode 2. Yes, we're excited. I hope you're a little excited, maybe very excited.
Yes, I am excited about getting my hair cut and then trimming up my mustache, because when I smile, it seems like I had to really do this to flex my upper lip just to show my teeth.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're going to get that trim after this recording.
I got to use so much product just to keep this out of my lips. Don't understand. It's big issues. And I want to express my thank you for putting up with this and still finding a way to kiss me every day, even though I have this woolly caterpillar on my lip.
That's funny. I don't even notice it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Hey, quick check-in with you.
That's so funny. Can I just say that, before, our story will still unfold over the course of this podcast, but our relationship was long distance for quite some time before, for a year. Hold on. Yes, but before, so we met online, working online together, and when I started to think like, ooh, I like him, I was always curious, like, what would it be like to kiss you with that mustache?
Yeah. Here, hold on one second. Okay.
And it's funny how.
Yeah, just lean on in there.
No. Okay.
That's just something I don't have to really worry about with you, which is kind of nice. Like, it just, I don't. Anyway, oh my goodness. Hey, cheers to you. And
here we are again.
Check just a quick check-in. Like today, I told you I'm going to be working on a haircut, feeling okay this day, working with some pain in my elbow and my arm, but that's just life. That's me. How about yourself? How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Good. Yes, it's a good day so far. I went for a nice walk this morning.
Yeah.
Got my coffee going. So and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Busting some myths.
The myths of midlife.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, big time. And this is our specialty here too, to really kind of look at these myths now that we're here in midlife, and we're really at this stage of discovery and pleasantly surprised in a lot of places. And obviously there's challenges, and we want to just kind of walk people through our experience and see what we think, and let you know what we think of it, what it's like. And this is like our perception and what we find to be myths of midlife now that we're here and we're doing this midlife thing. So,
and I think most people, everyone has, when they're younger, they have this idea of what midlife would be like, or they've heard, we've been told stories about what it should look like. And then I think it's a great topic to talk about, because I'm going to just assume that for most people, it's like, wow, my life did not turn out the way I planned, or there are twists and turns and challenges, and maybe we need new perspectives. So we can talk about a little bit about what we thought it was going to look like or should look like, and where we are.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to this conversation too, to see when people listen to it, what questions they come up with, and perhaps they can share their perspectives of what midlife has been for them as well.
Yes.
So
definitely pop it in the comments. What did you think? What were stories that you were told when you were younger of what midlife should look like, or that you expected it to look like?
Well, let me ask you that. What did you think midlife was going to be when you were younger? When you think about that?
So, I think it's sort of hard for me to even think about it, but I think the general gist was that life kind of unfolds in a linear fashion, and it just naturally falls into place. And you meet your partner, you get married, or you commit to a life together, you have kids, you have that. I definitely, when I was younger, imagined this suburban cute house with a white picket fence. And a family, a little nest. I don't know what would have, I didn't think as far as like what would happen when the kids leave the home, but
Yeah.
it felt like it was a very sort of linear process and that everything would just naturally unfold that way.
Yeah.
How about you?
Right. Yeah, no, it's like this place that you had to get to, like no matter what, I have to get there. I have to be everything has to be linear, and I felt like as I got older, when you're young you make mistakes. When you're in midlife you will have figured it out. And boy, will
Yes.
that be a relief for me to have figured it all out, to have all this wisdom and not make mistakes. I'm going to be exactly where I want to be financially. I'm not going to have any sort of worries. I'm going to know exactly what I'm going to do with my career. The kids are going to be in a great spot and know exactly what they're going to be doing. I'm going to be kind of free of any sort of guilt, but
Did
like
you
no
think of
mistakes.
yourself in a like a corporate sort of career,
Oh
or what
God,
did
that's a
you
good
imagine?
question. Yeah, I
Because I
I
don't, for me,
I was not. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the because the way I was raised, I was never sort of when I was young. This is like in my teens, and I wanted to become a therapist. So I think I would
Hmm.
have, I imagined myself just having a therapy practice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that just being the thing that I do.
Yeah. I think for the longest time, this is a big admittance. It's like, I felt that the thing I needed to do was to be famous in some kind of way.
Yeah,
Uh, and, and I thought that maybe it would be some kind of fame or status that would be at midlife, but I would have enough money. But I never really saw myself in like corporate, but I felt that I would be known in some kind of way. Um, I was obsessed with like this idea of like being famous for the longest time, and I'm so glad that that's over. A lot of that's over. But I think it was like, and we've talked about this before, is just like this. I had this longing to be seen and appreciated for who I am. I think, and I think I had this attachment to what others thought of me at this point more than I had any sort of pull to be myself at midlife. I just, I think I just had this really just obscure idea of having arrived and having
mm-hmm.
made it. And I didn't even
Yeah.
really have a huge definition of what that was, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You
You
talked
know?
about wanting to be a famous actor or something,
Right.
but yeah. And then so we it sounds like we both had this idea of everything kind of figuring itself out, and
Yep.
we have everything figured out. So what's actually true? What for you, for us?
Yeah. Well, definitely older. Yeah. The gray
You are?
hair. Yeah. Yeah. Well, age-wise, yes. Chronologically, I am
Yes.
older.
You're
Uh,
very handsome.
would Thank you. What's true?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. While you think
Yeah.
about it, I just want to share, like, so, I thought that it was going to unfold in this linear way and it was going to look a
Yeah.
certain way. But the truth is that I got divorced. I
Mm.
immigrated. I live in a different country, right? I
Yeah.
was born and raised in South Africa, ended up living in London for a couple of years, knowing that that was only going to be for 2 years, but then ended up in the States, in Chicago. Um, so that was very different.
Mm.
Never, when I was younger, expected to live in another country. And then, I did have the two amazing kids and I love them dearly. They are in their 20s now, but divorce happened,
Mm.
and which was never part of the plan.
Mhm.
And also going through multiple career or jobs and areas of work before I landed on the thing that I just absolutely love. And I think I've come full circle. Like I
Mm.
mentioned earlier, that I wanted to become a therapist, and what I do now is as close to being a therapist, in terms of being a somatic practitioner and doing trauma-informed coaching. So that's come full circle. But along the way, there was
Mm.
a lot of sort of, what do you call it? Just
Meandering?
meandering. The road was not linear.
Yeah.
I tried different
Right.
careers and different jobs, and all for good experiences, but it was confusing at times and
Mm.
messy, and relationships were confusing and messy after divorce, and
Yeah.
I had a lot to figure out in my, I would say, especially my 40s.
Mm.
So yeah, to bring me where I am now, and I'm sure there's still a lot to figure out, but I feel a lot more settled and grounded and so on. But it definitely felt like a messy middle or a liminal sort of period of endings before and new beginnings, and figuring a lot out still.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt like there was a big part of me that was kind of a late bloomer, and in because when I hit my 30s, when I had my girls, and then they were split for me for a while, as my partner at that time split, and and then uh, and then trying to put those pieces back together again. There was a time in my 30s where it was just I kind of got like a little bit of wild and crazy hair to like that's why I found myself in a bad spot, whether it was drinking and drugging, and there were a lot of past trauma that I didn't deal with. And I what I did at the time was just really explored kind of who I was at that time. And there was some it was a selfish time for me. It was a time where I learned a lot about myself though too. Um and and I did the best I could in raising my girls. I got some help with my parents. I mean, I was completely split up and torn. It was probably the lowest point of my life, and I just and I didn't even really have a steady job. I had gone from being a car salesman in my early 30s and understanding that this is not what I want to do. I actually want to help people, and I went the complete 180 and decided to do massage therapy and went to massage school, like night school. And it's not like you go to massage therapy to make it big and to make a lot of money. But during that time after I graduated, I would just pick up kind of jobs here and there, massaging complete strangers and trying trying to make a living that way. But that just really wasn't for me. Yeah, and then I met someone to where we got together and were married and traveled all over the world, lived in Tokyo, lived in Germany, and then got divorced again, and then around that time is when we met and started talking, and here we are like coming together. And you've really helped me kind of piece together the meaning of my life, and that's been just an incredible journey, because I've grown to appreciate it. A lot of that stuff that happened to me to teach me lessons about life. This is all earth school, and you've talked about that very often, how we're all here just really learning, and it's not about not screwing up. And I think that was a big myth of midlife, is like you're done making screwing stuff up,
Yeah.
and if we do screw up, boy, it's too late to go back now. Boy, it's too late to be a good person, because I've screwed up. I've gotten divorced a couple times, and there's no hope for me. So
Yeah.
that's a big myth too.
And that can also, there's a lot of kind of things that society, according to society, that we believe about midlife. Again, like you said, feeling like you screwed up. And I mean, how we all fumble through life, whether we want to be open and honest about it or hide it. But I think there are certain things in society, like messages that we get, that we should have it all figured out. That if we don't have it figured out, that we are a failure on some level, and that is just so not true. I
Yeah.
think the obstacle we do face obstacles and challenges, and maybe really tough times, and making so-called mistakes or decisions
Yeah.
that take us down a certain path, but to really help us to pivot again and wake
Mm.
up and learn more about ourselves, and
Yeah.
come closer to who we truly are and our true authentic selves. And again, it's not a linear process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of these myths, or what we think we should be, and all the shoulds that are out there, are really disempowering. They've been disempowering for me, and they could be for other people. If we haven't achieved a certain financial status, or saved up perfectly for retirement, or, and doing everything perfect, being the perfect parent or being the perfect community member. There's a lot of shoulds and a lot of expectations that kind of come with the status of professional midlifer, and
Yeah.
you could be really hard on yourself if you don't rise to those standards set. Um,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah, career timelines. Another one, I think, especially for women, you can speak to from a man's perspective, but beauty standards and all those kinds of things,
Mm,
midlife is sort of the beginning of the decline, and
yeah.
it's sort of downhill from here. Where again, I don't think when I was younger, I necessarily thought of midlife as this tipping point of, oh, we turn 50 and it's downhill. But the closer I got to, especially 50, I think, as a woman, it's sort of this, the conversation is way more about what's happening to my body. And it's all, oh, it's just
Mm,
sort of a lot of, I don't know, it's sort of becoming invisible, and women starting to panic about their identity, and so I think it has a lot to do with what we fed in brainwashed with in society,
mm,
and again for me at this point in life, I just feel that that's also a myth, because there's still a whole second half of life, and it's possible to feel good and energized
yeah.
and get stronger. That's also one thing I actually thought, this is one thing, and I think our work as health coaches has helped me understand this, that especially in the job that we met, where we work with people with chronic pain, is doing certain, moving your body, is so, our body, as long as we are alive, we can always get stronger. And I think a lot of people think, oh, you're going to get more achy and you're going to have more aches and pains and you're going to get weaker. And that's just the way it is. But if we take care of this body, if we go for the walks and do some strength exercises, we can always get stronger. And that's so amazing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to me. It's like fun now to, yes, I think if I don't keep it up, I can feel I have to work on it a little harder or be more consistent, and at this phase in life. But I definitely feel like I can always get stronger, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing that this saying that's out there is just kind of echoes through midlife is like, well, I'm just getting old, just
Hmm.
getting older, and I think that's
Careful.
just like this, yeah, it's like this surrender.
Mm,
Well, I got pain, I'm just old. Well, it's like what we can do with that pain. And yeah, no doubt you'll get aches and pains throughout our life. The longer we live, that's going to happen, but you can definitely do something about it. And with stretching your body, moving your body, if that's yoga, if that's stretching and Tai Chi,
yeah.
walking, weightlifting, finding your thing, swimming.
In
But
fact,
yeah.
sorry, I
Mhm.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking while we're on this topic that when I was 48, I did my very first triathlon.
Yes. Go into that. Like what made you decide to do that?
And what made me decide to do that? Well, first of all, I was still living in Chicago at the time, and I was sort of tired of social gatherings always being about going out at night and drinking and so on. I really wanted to just not drink alcohol, and I thought that, well, you know what? I want to do stuff with people socially in a more healthy way. So I bought myself a bike. I'm like, I'm going to start cycling and join groups, and these, I always saw these women groups, like, cycling around Chicago. I'm like, I want to do that and hang out on a Saturday morning and stop at a coffee shop with some women. So I got a bike. And then once I got a bike, I remember sitting in my bed, like in a cold November morning, thinking, wait a minute, I have a bike and I've done a 5K before, and I love swimming. So why didn't I just sign up for a triathlon? And it was just like a moment of inspired action. I'm like, yeah, if I commit to one, then I'll actually train for it. So I found some triathlon for the next summer in Chicago, and I just signed up. And I'm like, this is a goal that I'm going to work towards. But before that, I think what really inspired me is that someone told me about Sister Madonna. What's her name? Sister Madonna Buter or something. She's a nun
Yeah.
who she was in a Nike ad in her 80s, because she had done so many the Ironman triathlon.
Oh
She'd
wow.
done
Yeah.
multiple Ironman triathlons, well into her 80s. She's probably still doing them into her 90s. I don't know. But she was in a Nike ad, and I saw someone, my friend Karen, showed me this Nike ad of where Sister Madonna is on the beach getting ready for her another Ironman in her 80s. And I'm like, whoa, if she can do an Ironman triathlon, I think I can do a sprint. And I'm like, let me try this. And she just inspired me because she discovered running in her 50s, and then eventually that led to her doing Ironman triathlons. And I mean, this woman is just incredible and unstoppable. And I'm like, I really thought that, listen, if a woman in her 80s can do an Ironman, I think I can manage a sprint triathlon. And it was such a fun experience, because once I went to that triathlon, I realized that there are so many people like in midlife doing it. It's not just me, but just challenging themselves. It's not about winning or competing against others necessarily. It's really a personal challenge, and I loved it. So yeah.
That's incredible, and it's inspiring to me that you went and did that. And I'd be too afraid to get eaten by something out there in the ocean, but you did that. You didn't care.
Well, it wasn't quite the ocean. It was like I did another one, and another one a month later, and it was just inland in lakes in
there's
in
no sharks in
Wisconsin,
lakes,
so
isn't that?
no.
Right?
So
No,
it was.
all right. Yeah,
it wasn't an open water swim. I've yet to do one of those, but yeah, it was a really good challenge, and it also proved to me that I can do that and really have fun doing it. It wasn't. I mean, it was a sprint, so it wasn't like just. It's over pretty quickly when you do a sprint, but still, it was a decent challenge. And not anyone can just do that, but yeah, I did that. I did both of them when I was 48. After not swimming, I think because I had to swim again. I swam competitively in high school, but I had barely been in a pool for a couple of decades, and I started swimming again, and even that was so fun.
Yeah, like fun. Like you can have fun doing stuff in midlife. Like it's the biggest thing is just remembering that it's not too late. It was around 46 years old that my health was in the worst it's ever been. Muscle was gone. I really wasn't working out, wasn't taking care of myself, I didn't really care. There was just like this dead expression to my eyes, and the guys on my other YouTube channel have seen this. I've kind of showed a picture of what I looked like before. And then just something hit. It's like I decided I am tired of being weak, and I'm just going to fight like hell to get my health back on track, because I was suffering from autoimmune diseases and sick all the time. And I think it just stemmed from just this weakened mindset. And I just like don't go gentle into that good night sort of kind of moment. And made it a point to go back into the gym where I once lived religiously for my teens and my 20s. I skipped my 30s for some reason, but I just got back into it and changed my body up. And then you can still build muscle and feel stronger, and it does so much for did so much for my confidence. And it's so great to be in a community of guys on my other channel, seeing them come out of the woodwork and say, it's not too late. Here I am at 48 and I'm getting back in the gym. There's guys that are 66 years old getting back into it and getting stronger and feeling better, and they're not afraid to go out and to have an adventure. And I think that's what's been so great in my transformation is I feel I can go out for a hike, like no problem, or we can make this jump that we're going to be doing overseas. It's like, and not suffer any sort of physical consequences as far as like, I'm not strong enough to handle it. Well, I feel strong enough to handle it. And I'm now in a spot to where I feel I'm in the best shape of my life now that I'm right at the border of 50. So it's not too late to get yourself in the best shape possible. And that's done an immense amount of good for my mental health as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for me to see you do it in a way that, again, you're enjoying it. You're not it's not extreme. It's not like you spend hours in the gym every single day. You do it at a pace and a few times a week, and then lots of walking. We both love walking. So and that also brings me, you just mentioned us moving abroad. That's another thing. Oh, it's too late to do stuff like that. Surely, aren't we too old to do adventurous things like that, Spencer? I don't know.
Yeah, because where you are, when you're in midlife and you're in your spot, you figure out exactly this is where I'm going to live, and you're not going to move. You're not going to make any big moves. We're just
Right.
preparing to settle in and get cozy by the fire and get in the
Yeah.
rocking chair. That's it's really not
Yeah.
it. We're
And
we're
that's not,
making a
yeah.
big jump, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's not to say that it's wrong. If that's what
Yeah,
anyone listening to this, if you love being, if you've lived in the same place and this is what's cozy and fine for you, like totally.
I'm
What do you do?
I'm crocheting and cross
Hey,
knitting.
I like to knit.
All
Don't.
right. That's fine.
Knitting is very regulating for me.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah, that's good.
it's a great alternative to
Yeah,
scrolling on
no
the phone.
doubt.
But anyway, no, I do enjoy knitting and doing something creative like that. And you can call me Granny if you want, but no, you haven't done that. But feel free if I ever get my
Yeah.
knitting needles out again. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
again sort of just busting that myth of, by at this age we have to be settled and
Mm,
sort of stay in one spot and then just go on the odd vacation here and there. I think we're embarking in a phase of our lives that we really want to go after a lifestyle of our dreams,
mm.
and not believing that it's too late to do that.
Yeah.
And it's available, if that's what we want. We want to
Yeah.
be able to live in different places and be back in South Africa with my family, and back in, and have some form of a base in the States, because our kids are here and they adults here in America. So we have a
Hmm.
lot of reason to be in this part of the world as well. So being able to create that hybrid lifestyle is really something that we dream of. And it's easy to think, oh, like, no, that's not, we should have done that in our 20s, or the
Yeah.
traveling and the backpacking and the nomad lifestyle is for the young kids. But we've just made a decision that no, this is available to us, and let's just go for it and
Yeah.
see how this unfolds. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Takes a lot of trust and a lot of courage to make those steps, but you got to think about it in your own life out there as well. You've always, I mean, for the most part, you've been all right. You've found a way to make it through. You're here right now in the stage of life where you are. You've made big choices before, and there's a lot of fear of things that have never come to pass, or there's a lot of fear of fiction out there, the fear of what could happen, but that doesn't actually happen. There's nothing to fear but the fear itself. And I think the best thing to do is to look fear right in the face and just boldly step right towards it. And you find it might shrink, and we're going to find ourselves in a new situation that we're going to figure out. And
Yeah.
there's going to be some growing pains, but
Yeah,
it's
and from my perspective, it's also about sort of noticing if there is a lot of that fear, noticing
mm,
where that's coming from, what is actually driving that fear, and coming back to oneself. And of course, I work with a lot with the nervous system, understanding that from a place of more, there's a way to increase capacity in this nervous system to tolerate sort of this sense of adventure, the next step. Doing something, stepping into the unknown can I just want to normalize that can feel like a too much. And if that is, there are ways to work with that to come back into regulation, because and just to build that capacity to take that on, and to,
mm.
without getting into a complete state of panic. So
Well,
that's what we do. We have daily practices that support us in taking these bold steps. Yeah, and
yeah.
also creating, having the choice to also, in our day-to-day, create ways to feel really present and grounded and
Mm. Well,
safe in the moment.
Well, that's why I feel so confident in making this move with you, because you're my coach along the way. You're going to help me kind of titrate into these big shifts and notice what's happening in my body and where I'm at in my nervous system. And so this kind of leads me to this last little bit here. I just wanted to kind of go over, if someone does feel stuck in that mindset of like midlife is over the hill, what do you think is a small shift that someone could use, today to kind of to get through that?
I think just to slow down a little bit and to ponder. And for me, um, let me just think about this for a moment, because what is something that someone can do who feels stuck?
Yeah,
That the
like they say,
question?
like, well, I'm over the hill. It's too late. It's don't think I can do it. But in their heart of hearts, they do want to do something. You know,
Mm, mm,
how do we get the ball rolling? How does one get the ball rolling
yeah.
and make a
Yeah, I mean, that stuckness is often, it's not a simple answer because the first step, I would
Hmm.
say, is just to feel into that part that feels, believes that it's too late, I'm stuck. Um, to to do a somatic check-in, to do a, like, just feel where does that live in your body?
Mm.
Where do you feel that stuckness? Um, and to start exploring that. What is the belief beneath that?
Mm.
Going a little deeper. And
Mm.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
For me, I think it'd be just fun to even allow yourself to imagine it. You know, you know, there's a lot of work that Neville Goddard, when I've read him, talks about seeing yourself from the end, like what the end result is, like using your imagination in a way that's still fun. Like imagination's not to use your imagination is so important at our age too, to imagine a future for us. And a lot of times people think that, well, when I was younger, I thought imagination is something kids used, when they have their color crayons and their markers and it's arts and crafts time. But taking that imagination and then trying to see what is ideal for you, what do you see, like big picture, and then just allowing yourself to see what a grand idea that can look like for you. Like what's your ultimate place? Where do you see yourself like living? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And just kind of imagining what the perfect kind of scenario is for you, and just to put a smile on your face, maybe in your heart, and just kind of start with that, allowing yourself to see a vision of what you do want. And then the how will kind of figure out, will reveal itself along the way. But I think it's important to at least put your eyes on something that kind of gets you up in the morning. You want to move towards it. I think it kind of
Mhm.
starts with that invisible, allowing yourself that invisible, um, using your imagination and imagining something amazing for yourself.
Mm,
That's me.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start with a vision and then explore the stuckness along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where the somatic practices will come in extremely handy. It's like, wait a minute, what about, because when you
Yeah.
do imagine it, you can kind of put yourself there, and then there might be like, ooh, something like, ooh, that doesn't feel right, or I'm scared. And
Yeah.
that might be some place to explore.
Yeah, and I think, from a place of like having that, I think, a lot of people have these dreams of, or they feel like surely there's something more to life. I might not know exactly what it is, but this is not where I expect it to be. This is not how I expect it to feel at this phase in life. Maybe someone has everything like everything in place in terms of the job and the
Mm.
house and all that, but there's still a niggly feeling of like, it feels like there should be more to life
Oh,
than
yeah.
this. And I again, when those kinds of feelings come up, or you try to take a step towards the dream life, that you can imagine, but it's too overwhelming, or there's too much fear coming in. um, I would say, like, the first step would be to really come back to yourself, get to know the system that's running your life, because our nervous systems is in charge of everything that we do, everything that we feel, everything that we think. And if there's stuckness, that just means that there's too much overwhelm in the system. It doesn't believe it's safe, you're safe enough to take the next step.
Mm.
So we have to come back, or in the work that I do is to help people come back to, how can I again increase that capacity to hold the unknown, to take the next step into the unknown, and also break it down into small steps. So sometimes we get over, like, if you have a dream, we're going to move to another country, so that's a huge step. So if that feels too much, maybe, that's the end goal that we want to reach. But
Yeah.
what can I do today to take a very small step towards that bigger goal, and just focus on that? Break it down into to steps that feel tolerable to one's system. Because
I
often,
mean,
usually when we get stuck, it's because it's too much. It's too much.
mm,
Your nervous system is like, that's not safe.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, for me, it was watching rugby and getting used to that. So when we come down there, we're gonna be rugby fans. So that's and this brings up a good point, and I think this is why we should make this a series. And I'm happy to be going forward with you in this venture of exploring midlife with you, because it's more than you can sum up in just the time that we have here.
Mhm.
there's a lot to discuss here. So,
Yeah.
in closing, and just wanted to kind of ask you if there was a word that you could sum up your midlife experience, what would that word be?
Adventure, for sure.
Mm,
Adventure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of the word that I had felt too. It is an adventure, and I want it to be an adventure. I hear the Indiana Jones theme song music right now here too. It's like it's because that's what I want. It's not too late to have an adventure for yourself,
Yeah.
um, and it is an adventure. I think that's the best way for you to view it. And so train for it and have
Yeah.
a lot of fun in that. You know,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I just want to, for a second, thank you for that. That was so adventurous. I think that's a wonderful word to end this on. I just want to circle back just to, because I just mentioned, the stuckness being, when it's too overwhelming for one's nervous system. I actually created this free 5-day challenge
Mm,
to regulate your nervous system. So I'm going to just pop the link to that in the description of the show.
yeah, that's
For
good too.
anyone,
Yeah.
if anyone wants to sign up for that, because it will give you a taste of how to bring more calm in your own system to then create the capacity to take the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And I too have a 5-day challenge where I have a freebie for the guys that I work with to help really cultivate a healthier self image for themselves, for greater strength, greater flexibility, for perhaps, or even managing weight loss besides just of the body, perhaps maybe the weight of expectations, especially at this midlife stage. But it's an entire blueprint based on a framework that helps rebuild a man's image from the inside out. That's been proved very helpful as well. So it's absolutely free to anybody who's interested in that. So we'll both have our links in these descriptions as well. And we're happy to field any questions that you might have on this subject and continue to involve us in your process of becoming who you are. And we're
Yeah.
honored.
And we want to interact with our viewers. So
Mm,
please, tell us in the comments, what are the myths that you believe when you were younger? Are you stuck anywhere? Have you busted any of those myths? Would love to
yeah.
know.
Yeah, educate us. We're still learning too. You know what I mean? This is our expertise, but we still love picking up new tips, new ideas, and everyone has a perspective that we can all learn from. So you're definitely needed out there, and we love and appreciate you, and appreciate your viewership and taking an interest in us like we do you as well. So that's me.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Thank you so much, and talk soon.